Then we've got second to last one. We've got best debuts. This is a player that's had their best debut for Leicester City. Glenn, we'll start with you. Who do you think's had the best debut for Leicester City?
I think KDH, to be honest. Coming in, everything that I've already mentioned about him earlier on. He bided his time, did his time with the likes of Blackpool and Luton. Came back and was ready to fight for his place, straight away. And, for a team that had the likes of Maddison and Tielemans in it, that had to be tough for him to. Well, I mean, fair play to him. He obviously thought the fact of, no, I can make my way into this team. And I think he was pretty much, player of the season at both Blackpool and Luton when he was there. You saw it online that people were raving at him at both clubs. And so he believed in himself and against, like I say, a tough midfield to break into, but he did. It's got to be daunting for him, really, but he nailed it, and I think he's going to be an absolute superstar, and I hope that he's going to be an absolute superstar with us for as long as possible. And that's probably going to be the hardest thing now over the coming, maybe not the coming 12 months. I think we'll be fine with this next season, but if he continues the way that he is, it might be difficult to keep hold of him after that. But so, yeah, I've kept KDH for best debut.
Yeah, I mean, it's going to be, I know it's going to be quite an obvious one as well, but I'd want to give, again, Alex, is there anybody else that you can think of as well that had a good debut this season that's worth mentioning? Because I know KDH is pretty far and away with quite a few of these results, to be honest.
Like, you can give your shout-outs to Lookman. You can give your shout-outs to Daka, because I feel like they provided, like, great debuts this season, but I'm with Glenn on this one. I don't think you can really – you just got to give the shout-out to KDH because – he came into this season, and I think when you look at who he was competing against, there's a high likelihood that nobody was going to say KDH at the end of the season is going to overtake Yuri. He's going to be the main midfielder for this club, and he just blew expectations out of the water. If you presented me with you have to choose between Yuri Tielemans and KDH a year ago, I'd be like, KDH is promising, but Yuri is Yuri. You ask me that now, I go KDH, like no questions asked, KDH. So I think I got to give it to KDH on this one. I do want to give a shout to one player because I think he didn't play much. He barely played any minutes at all, and it was actually in the Watford game when we had 8 players. Will Alves, 16 when he debuted. Like that's a statement right there. Sure he didn't play a lot, but I think you got to give credit where credit's due on that. 16 years old, and I think when we were recording, that the post match for that game, and I always was like, what were you doing at 16? Because I sure as hell was not playing against Watford in an FA Cup match. So I think that's just like the little shout out that I'd like to give is Will Alves, a 16-year-old, really just jumping in and playing.
Yeah, no, I mean, that's one that I've got down in terms of that. And not in terms of, oh, wow, amazing performance, but the fact that he's making his debut. And he did pretty well as well, considering he was 16 as well. But
he was exuding confidence for a 16-year-old. Like,
had
a couple of those guys on strings when he had the ball.
Yeah. Which is so exciting. I mean, just to have a player like that just makes you grin from ear to ear because you go, right. Dan, again, is there any other thoughts you've got on any of them players? Because, again, it's quite, within there, we've got Casey McAteer, who did his debut as well. We've had Lewis Brunt as well. I'm not expecting you to know anything too much about them as well. And one player that I haven't mentioned that has a debut, even though it was his 4th season with Leicester City, Danny Ward. Technically, this was his debut season in the Premier League. This is his first match he's ever played. I'm not expecting you to pick any of them, but just give your thoughts or any other thoughts you've got on any of them.
Honestly, I was pretty excited that anytime we're bringing academy players into the first team and they get a sniff of that, that just makes them hungrier. So seeing Lewis Brunt around was always good, and I enjoyed that he was getting first team action, getting on the field. Like Alex said, Alves is an exciting player. Can't wait to see more from him. And honorable mention to Daka because, I mean, going from a new signing to being our top scorer in Europe inside of a season is a big deal. But I would have to give it to KDH. I mean, he muscled his way through how many midfielders we have. We sent one on loan. We tried to loan out, another one or more, 2 more, and a new signing came in, and he still gets in the team ahead of him. So, I mean, it says a lot about his character, his work ethic, and how much he's willing to go through for the club.
Yeah, and how much as well that he's gone out of his way to make himself go, I am this starting position ahead of somebody like Yuri Tillemans, who, when we've played when he was ill or was out of that game, we didn't look like we missed him. Yes, it was a weakened Watford side, but no one's going, we're missing Yuri Tillemans, don't sell him, blah, blah, blah. So it shows you, again, the quality of player, and the ceiling's just going to go better for him. So in terms of best debut, I think it is no question in this one. It would be Kin Dewsbury Hall.